18th Annual Marine Money China Ship Finance Forum. As I'm sure you all know, there's a very special relationship between Greek shipping and the Chinese shipping and finance industry. Many Greek ship owners have been ordering ships, all kinds of ships from Chinese shipyards, and are extremely happy with the relationship. And in the last 8 or 10 years or so, have also been sourcing Chinese finance. An expert in the relationship between China and Greece is Mr. George Xiradakis, who is president of the Association of Banking and Financial Executives of Hellenic Shipping, and also the founder of XRTC Business Consultants in Athens. And we're very happy to have Mr. Xiradakis here today. And I'm just going to ask him a few questions about this special relationship between Greek shipping and Chinese shipping and finance. George, please. So George and I are actually very good friends. I mean, we probably met each other about maybe 30 years ago. We worked
Something more about it.
Maybe more. We worked in the same bank. We've followed each other's careers, and I'm extremely happy to have him here beside me on the stage here in Shanghai. So George, let me first of all ask you. I mean, if you go back, let's say 10 years, what was the relationship at that point between Greek shipping and Chinese shipping? And then if we come forward 10 years to today, how has that relationship changed?
Listen, 10 years ago, we were smoking together because both in China and in Greece, all of us that we were working in shipping, we are smoking in reality because afterwards, first due to the change of the government here in China, President Xi stopped smoking, and likewise the Greek Prime Minister in 2019 it stopped smoking in Greece. So the shipping of those times it was smoked because we care about how we will survive because of the crisis, how we will survive because of the downturn, and of course don't forget that both Chinese and Greeks they had already delivered ships that were very expensive from the previous cycles. And they were trying to manage. The Chinese, they entered the financing, in a sense, but they were looking after the Chinese ship owners themselves because the market could not follow. Now it is exactly the opposite. Now nobody smokes. We don't want ships that they have a smoke and emission. And we are trying to find out the new life and how it's going to be shipping without smoke and clean. And at the same time, we are looking for another market that is going to be where the money will flow with certain criteria, with transparency, and with, if I can say, with the absolute translation, the correct translation of the word sustainability in all the languages. Because sustainable cannot be only one shipping. It has to be all the shipping departments, all the shipping nations all over the world. And whether we have in Europe the ESG, it is 100% sure that even in China you're going to have the ESG. And where we have the transparency, we will have it everywhere.
Okay. And if we stick to Greek shipping, do you have any idea of the scale of the relationship? Have you any idea how many Greek-owned ships have been built
just
here?
to give you an example, I mean, first of all, I was, if you remember well, one of the pioneers of the Chinese financing into the Greek shipping, and of course, on the other side, the way that we call the Greeks to accept the Chinese banks. But all of a sudden, the history goes well back for decades. I don't want to take the time now to say about the history. But at this point of time now, we can say that in summary, the Greeks, they have built ships that 1,200 ships that all together the value was up to today, $60 billion. But the important thing is that it is the Greek shipping that opened the doors for international shipping community to start trusting the Chinese shipbuilding industry, and at the same time, the Chinese financing industry.
Okay. An interesting point, up until about only maybe 6 months ago or a year ago, the Greek-owned fleet was actually, or the Greek-controlled fleet was the largest in the world. It was reported that this was actually overtaken by China just a few months ago. But
Yes.
on the other hand, we have to think of China, a country with 1.5 billion people, Greece, a country of only 11 million people.
Okay.
What can you comment about that?
Okay. You cannot compare the two different markets. The one market is to serve the nation, and the other market is to serve the world. We are, compared to China, Greece is nothing, is a small thing. It's 1/3 of Beijing. It's even 2/5 of Shanghai, or even 1/3 of Shanghai. No, 2/5. And as far as the international trade is concerned, it accounts only for 0.05% of the world trade. But what we have in ourselves is we have shipping in our blood. I mean, the Greek civilization was born in the coastline. It has expanded from Mediterranean, from Greece to the Greek island, and then to Mediterranean, and then to Europe and Africa, and then to the world. So the Greeks are the taxi drivers or the truck drivers of the oceans. The Chinese, they serve their own trade. They have to serve their own trade because China it's a huge economy. We have seen all the statistics presented by the doctor, by all the executives here that they spoke. It is another partner you can compare in terms of number, but even the fact that Greece and China is almost in the first level. You know, Greece has been the Greek-owned fleet has been first in the list for how many? I mean, about 4 to 5 decades now. So it is very correct that the Chinese will overpass, as it used to be the case with Japanese in the past, that they were higher than the Greeks. But at this point of time, the good thing is that the two nations cooperate together. They work together. And don't forget that the Greeks, they are transporting approximately the 50% of the energy requirements of China, in terms either of coal or in terms of oil or of natural gas. Yeah. And at this point of time, still the Greek shipping, the tanker and in the gas is well ahead the Chinese. Whereas in the bulk carriers and of course the containers is the market of China.
Okay, tell me. I mean, one of you with XRTC, one of your core businesses is assisting Greek ship owners finding finance here in China, and I know you've helped over the years some of the very largest Greek ship owners find Chinese leasing. Give us a few comments on Chinese leasing and how that has assisted the Greek shipping community.
Okay, first of all, I have to say that at the beginning it was the beginning of when we enter into transactions together with China Development Bank. And I'm very proud that part of this original team is here attending this meeting today. And that goes back about 15 years ago when we started. Of course, at the beginning, it was with the conventional financing. And just to give you a comparison, at those times, when we were working with French banks, my company was established from a French bank. We needed about 1 month, or let's say 40 days, to make the first transaction. The first transaction that it took place with CDB in 2010, signed finally in front of the two prime ministers. It took us 17 months to conclude the first transaction. Now, of course, things have changed. Yeah. And how they have changed is simply because we remove after the crisis of 2013. There was a correction of the market. There was the other, if I can say, the other focusing of the credit committees of the conventional, of the big systemic big banks of the state, and they had an issue on how they will cope with the mortgage itself. That is, say, if a loan is in default, what is going to happen? And where was the international knowledge? At those times, did not exist. Now, it is another matter. But at those times, and this drove the whole system through the Minister of Finance, mainly that we were advising at that time, to start and improve the leasing structures. So the leasing structures, the leasing financing. The leasing financing, what it happened, we have more and more companies, more flexible in understanding the market and a bit faster. Why? Because they save the main issue of any lender. The vessel is mine until if and when something bad is happening. Therefore, from this perspective, we can say that the Chinese financial market responded better in the needs of the Greek ship owner, because the Greek ship owner, he cannot wait 6 months and 1 year to get financing of one ship. I mean, and don't forget, I mean, I want to share this, what you and me, we share with the international banks, the Western banks. Several times, the Greek ship owners, they were giving a call to the financier, say, I will buy this Panamax, and then the manager said, okay, buy it, and you are going to have the money next week. Or the banks were pre-approved standard credit line facilities in order to make its own client competitive and respond immediately or bid immediately if and when they will find the opportunity.
Exactly.
This is now the case that I can see that I have seen very big leasing companies, Chinese leasing companies, that I don't want to name it because otherwise I might have problems with other friends. So that they do have this ability, and they say the word. Now we can see that the Chinese shipping financing has obtained a word, a strong word.
Yeah, I think they've become a lot more flexible over the years. And it's quite interesting to note that a lot of the credit funds in Europe actually prefer the leasing structure now to the mortgage structure. So the whole sort of evolution of leasing is becoming stronger and stronger. Let me ask you something else. It hasn't only been the Greeks investing in China with their ships, but it's also been China investing in Greece with the large investment they made in the port of Piraeus, COSCO, and the enlargement of that port. Has that been a successful investment for them?
Yesterday night I was in the Bund with the CEO of the port of Piraeus, Mr. Zenkman, and we were discussing with with the Greek authorities here in Shanghai. We had a nice dinner. And that was the summary. And I have fresh, just to give you an example, the port of Piraeus never paid any tax in the Greek state in the past, simply because they didn't have any profit. I'm talking about before the privatization. And I'm talking about the port itself, not only the container terminal, but the port itself. Only the last 6 years, the port has contributed to the Greek economy with 300 million in taxes, in direct taxes, whereas this means that there is another 300 million with indirect social security, staff, income, etc. There are 4,000 employees that they are working peacefully, without strikes, without anything, and without asking a lot of things from having any sort of unethical demand, if I can say. Allow me to use even this word. Yeah. So that is to say, the industrial relationship ran very well.
Good.
And it has been seen as the most successful foreign investment of the last couple of decades.
And is there scope for more joint ventures and business for Chinese to do?
Let me tell you, the importance of the importance of the investment of China into the Greek port, a part of serving the BRI, a part of serving all the nations between East and West, and of course the European nation, because they are saving 10% of the cost of transportation of their goods from Shanghai to the middle of Europe. It improved also this investment the value of the coastline of Greece, meaning that all the other ports now, they have obtained a real value because of the transshipment requirements, because you cannot have all these million of containers that are coming to Piraeus stay there. You have to transship it to other Greek ports in order to find their way to Europe.
Yeah.
And this is something that we have seen a multiple of the privatization of value of the Greek ports in the recent efforts of the state to sell with a concession of 40 years. So certainly we anticipate a lot of things to be happened, but the most important, since we are coming from the financing here, is what we anticipate is a serious approach by the Chinese authorities and the Chinese big conglomerates in expanding their businesses in Europe through the Greek Republic. We have a very important development the last 3 years from 2021. We have the establishment of ICBC bank in Greece, and actually here we have the head of ICBC of Greece, and thank you very much, Mr. Mo, that you are here. We have as well the Bank of China having another branch there, and this means that it is a great opportunity if and when a leasing company wants to be successful. They cannot be successful unless they have a strong Greek connection, that meaning there are a lot of Greek bankers, a lot of Greek financiers that they were working in the international banks that they left the market, they left the shipping market, so they are available even to cooperate with them, or even to open rep office or to open even a branch in Greece, because otherwise, trust me, the Greek ship owner, okay, he might get one deal, second deal, but if he cannot see his financier next to him, he doesn't feel really nice, and he starts feeling a bit awkward, how can we say? I mean, scared even.
Okay. Tell me, you're the president of the Association of Banking and Financial Executives of Hellenic Shipping, and you've opened an office here in Shanghai, is that correct?
No, we have not opened an office.
Okay.
It is the office to be opened.
Okay.
The nice thing is that...
What will be the purpose of that office?
The purpose of this office is to keep together this nation in terms of the financing. I mean, just to serve the idea that I was telling you, just to serve the Greek ship owners that they might need the support of financial leasing institution or banking institution, or to improve even their relationship, not to act as a broker, as a facilitator, but at the same time, this is going to work both ways, because a Chinese company can come to Greece, can find the association, and at the same time to develop their own business. We have been invited by the local government to start this cooperation. We signed a letter of an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. Then after that, that was about 1 year and a half ago. This year in February, we signed this cooperation agreement. And now, hopefully, we are waiting now, and we are almost certain that we get the approval from the government of Pudong and of Lujiazui Financial District, that Mr. Liang was here in the morning, the representative of Mr. Liang. And hopefully, we will have the official announcement at Marine Tech, where we will have the establishment of the company.
Perfect. Congratulations.
Of the office.
Congratulations. So then the final question, then let's say we go forward 5 years. 5 years from now, where would you like to see the relationship between Greek shipping and Chinese shipping and finance?
I would love to have more Chinese in Greece and more Greeks in China. And I would love certainly to cooperate as we have been cooperating so many years in the development of the quality of the Chinese ships, the Chinese shipyard. Don't forget, I was asking somehow leading ship owners in another meeting that we had when President of Exim Bank came to Greece. How do you compare now the quality between the Chinese made with the Japanese made and the Korean made? In the past, if the index was 100 for Japan, For China, it was 30 on the tankers and about 45 on the dry. Now on the dry it is equal. There is nothing even, you can find even better. And I think that there is a very small, not to say even, there is no change, there is no difference between in the tanker side, but let's say that we're waiting. On Korea, I don't think that in comparison with the Koreans, I think that there is a long way to go for the gas carriers. But another issue that China can be now, there is another path and another way, another market, another sector that China can develop its own skills is the passenger vessels, the ferries that the whole Europe needs to replace the fleet, and the short sea shipping. And the short sea shipping is not only for one cargo type of that, it's everything, including the supply vessels and the assisting vessels of the port. That is to say, there is an estimate from our side, we have made a study, that only in Europe they will need approximately 35,000 units to be floating units to be replaced. And in Europe there is no space to build, there are no hands to work, unless you improve automation in such a way that it's going to be something different. So the do-it-yourself that we are doing in the commerce now, for instance, that since you have the ban, but I don't want to enter this geopolitics, the issue that the cooperation between Greeks and the Chinese can happen is even to rebuild and to build the new fleet even of the short sea shipping.
Thank you. So I think there's huge cooperation potential between China and Greece. Mr. Xiradakis is at the forefront of all of that. And George, thank you very much for this interview. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Levin. I have to tell you that while he was working in his first job, he had to jump from one bank to another to become a manager, and then I replaced him. So I was his successor. And for the way that I'm going every week in the TV, most probably I will interview him next time myself.